Hello everyone, we have prepared a brief video about the history of South Africa. Probably you know it because of Nelson Mandela and the Football World Cup that Spain won in 2010, but South Africa is much more than this. Let's start with the beginning. South Africa is a country located in the southern part of Africa, between two oceans, Indian and Atlantic. It is divided in 9 provinces. Furthermore, it has 2 small countries inside, Lesotho and Swaziland. They are in the South African territory, but they are independent of it. It's the only country in the world which has 3 capital cities, which are Pretoria, Cape Town and Bloemfontein. Nowadays, it's one of the BRICS countries, beside Brazil, India, China and Russia, one of the most growing countries in the world. But how could this remote country become the most important one in Africa, and one of the most relevant in the world?
To answer this question, let's move to the 16th century. Then, Dutch landed there and set colonies. They took slaves from Madagascar or Indonesia, but the Dutch colonists didn't submit the aboriginals. They just extended their religion and beliefs, and they coexisted peacefully during more than 100 years. 100 years later, Boers, descendants of the first colonists, and other tribes disputed some territories of the eastern South Africa. Taking advantage of this situation, the British arrived in order to solve the problem between both ethnic groups. But instead of doing this, they became aware of the importance of this strategic location and the discovery of gold and diamonds. Due to this fact, and as the time went by, in 1880 it started the First Anglo-Boer War. Despite it finished quickly and, as a result of this, Paul Kruger became the first president of the new South African Republic, the British didn't give up and started attacking the cities and the villages of the newborn republic. Thousands of Boers died and they finally accepted recognizing the British supremacy. The whole South Africa started to belong to the British Empire. The following years, they started expanding along the country easily because of their advantage in politics, economics, trade, and mining. Boers who had a poor education were relegated to agricultural tasks.
In 1910, only the whites could access to the parliament, and a 1913 law on indigenous lands limited possession of blacks to a 13% of the length of the country. Many Africans opposed these restrictions, and in 1912 was created the African National Congress, ANC, to fight against the unfair policies of the government. In 1948, the National Party, MP, introduced apartheid in his electoral program, and after his victory, it became part of the government's policy of the Republic of South Africa until the beginning of the 1980s. The apartheid legislation classified the population in 3 racial groups: white, black or Bantu, and color or mestizos. Later, they added the Indus and Pakistan as other categories. The legislation ruled the settlement cities of each group, their jobs, and the type of education that could receive. Also, forbade any type of social contact between the different races. As well, it couldn't be mixed marriages, they could not swim in the same beaches, could not use the same means of transport, and also, white people that were opposed to apartheid was considered communists and outside the legality. To maintain the separation had been an effective system of control passes that all black South African was obliged to carry with them at all times, and limited his access to the areas for white people.
From 1975, a series of reforms allowed the organization of black trade unions and the political activity of the opposition. In 1984, the Constitution opened the participation in Parliament to the mestizos nation, but continued excluding blacks, more than 75% of the population. In 1989, the new president, Frederick William de Klerk, completed the process of abolition of apartheid and released Mandela after 20 years in prison. In 1990, the segregation in the hospital and public places had finished. This same year, in 1991, Nelson Mandela was elected President of the National Congress. The first free elections in the history of South Africa were in April of 1994, and the ANC obtained a clear victory, electing Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela as the first black president of the country on the 10th of May 1994. And finally, In 1996, the new South African Constitution completed the process of democratization and equality for all citizens in South Africa. Due to this process, South Africa became the great nation today is.